Hello. Hi, friends. Hi, compatriots. Hold on, is it? Okay. Hi, friends. Hi, compatriots. I hope you're all having a wonderful Friday night. I am. I really did. As the title suggests, yes, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet have released an epilogue, and I didn't know that until today at work. At work, I was on my phone in the middle of work, like in between doing my tasks, and I happened to see an article online stating that the new mythical Pokemon Pecharunt, which I heard about last year, made its appearance in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, and I was like, "Whoa, that's wild! No freaking way!" so I looked at the article some more, and it said you can get this item through mystery gift via internet. So when I got home, I decided to do that. I connected to the internet and I got the mystical Pecha Berry, I believe it's called, and you have to interact with an item at Peachy's, or like that little like shop at Kitakami next to the community center. So I was like, okay, sure, I'll give it a shot. Thus started an awesome epilogue story for Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. The way I like to tackle this, since I have both Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, is I usually start with it for this specific game series. I start from the past and move to the future, meaning I do Pokemon Scarlet verse first and then do Pokemon Violet second, because I feel like you learn from the past to go towards the future. Very philosophical, I know, but that's what I did, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it the first time. I enjoyed it even more the second time. So I blazed through the epilogue for Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet today for both games. The epilogue is called Mochi Mayhem, and the mythical Pokemon is not legendary. Apparently, if this is a mythical Pokemon, it's Pecharunt. Spoiler alert: Pecharunt is a Poison Ghost Dual type with an awesome ability with its like paired with its unique move, Malignant Chain. Like, bro, and also I made a theory as I was coming upstairs to my recording studio. So in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet's downloadable content, the hidden treasure of Area Zero Part One, uh, the Teal Mask. There's a scene in it where the Loyal Three is resurrected, just out of the blue. Like, literally, Kieran punches the Loyal Three, like, little resting, whatever, like, ceremonial statue, right? Leaves, and then all of a sudden, the ceremonial statue of the Loyal Three explodes, and the Loyal Three has been revived. And so I'm just like, whoa, that's crazy. But after encountering the mythical Pokemon Pecharunt, I have a theory that the reason why the Loyal Three was resurrected was because of Pecharunt. And the fact that Pecharunt has a specific move only for itself, it has its own unique move called Malignant Chain, and it looks oddly like the chains that the Loyal Three wear. So I can only surmise that the reason why the Loyal Three have their powers is from Pecharunt, and Pecharunt helped them resurrect, probably through the use of Pecharunt's mochi that Pecharunt produces, which is crazy. I'm like, man, they made a mochi Pokemon. Like, what the fudge? And, like, basically, in the Pokedex entry for Pokemon Scarlet, I believe it says it creates mochi, feeds it to Pokemon and people, and whoever eats it will be under Pecharunt's control, meaning that maybe Pecharunt had some control over the Loyal Three's dead corpses somehow. I guess like they went to the shrine of the Loyal Three and was like, okay, I put a mochi in front of each of the statues of the Loyal Three, which is like, what was the Loyal Three's names? Like, there's Okidogi, uh, Pheasantipity, and so yeah, because it's like Serendipity, Okidoki, and I forget what the monkey was called. There's the third member, the big brain one, because Pheasantipity, Pheasantipity, sorry, Pheasantipity It's Pheasantipity. Uh, Hunky, Hunky Dory. Monkey Dory. That's right. It was because I remember it was. I thought the naming of the Loyal Three, like their names, was very unique. It was like Hunky Dory, Serendipity, and Okie Dokie, and they did. And I don't know who in the North American, like, side of Game Freak or whatever came up with this naming design because I thought it was genius. Okie Dokie, Pheasantipity, and Monkey Dory, and I was like, that's kind of funny. I like that. It just gives me it gives me a Disney feel. Like the naming is so Disney like. Very like the Loyal Three is super silly. They're just like a basically a bunch of bandits. Like they remind me of the Bandit sisters from Pokemon Legends Arceus. Oh my gosh, like like the trio, and like I wish that Pokemon Legends Arceus had downloadable content with it. It was such a great standalone game. It was essentially take The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and make it Pokemon, and it was amazing. I just wish that Pokemon Legends Arceus had downloadable content, because the crazy thing is that Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pokemon Shining Pearl had downloadable content. It was literally based off of whether or not you had Pokemon Legends Arceus. So, if you get all the Pokemon in Pokemon Legends Arceus, including Arceus themself or himself, whatever pronoun Arceus wants to be, because Pokemon Arceus is literally the god of Pokemon. Um, if you go back to Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pokemon Shining Pearl, you will have unlocked the ability to catch Arceus in Pokemon Shining Pearl and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, which is insane. So literally, Pokemon Shining Pearl and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond had downloadable content. You just needed to get the game that was released after it, so you can go back to the game to catch Arceus in the game, which is wild. And I'm like, what the fudge? Like, what's even more insane is that depending on whether or not you have the past Pokemon games released for Switch, so like Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, Pokemon Sword, and Pokemon Shield, depending on whether or not you had it, like, yeah, so you have to have either one of the first two Pokemon games released on Switch and one of the second Pokemon games to be released on Switch. And the reason why it sounds very complicated is because in Pokemon Shining Pearl and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, you can get mythical Pokemon. So if I remember correctly, if you have save data of either Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu or Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, you talk to a certain man in a certain town, you will get Mew for free. Like, if you have the save data, you will get Mew for free. Now, if you get Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, like either of the two games save data in your Switch, you talk to the lady next to the old man that gives you Mew, you get Jirachi. So, I like the way that they're doing it. I find it interesting. It's like a little bit of a, oh, thank you for your patronage type of deal for people that have been playing Pokemon games through each generation, because in Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, something similar happened. So, depending on whether or not you had Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, there is a person there next to, like, one of the flying taxi stations or whatever. You talk to them, and if you have save data of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, you get a Gigantamax Pikachu, a Pikachu that has its Gigantamax form. Then if you have the save data of Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, you talk to that same person, you get a Gigantamax Eevee. An Eevee that is able to Gigantamax, well, that has its own Gigantamax form. So they did that with Pokemon Shield and Pokemon Sword, and they started like doing this trend, because in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, there is a person in the front of Mesagoza. You talk to them, and they do this thing called rotometry. So basically, you get phone cases for your Rotom phone, depending on the save datas you have from the Pokemon games that have been released on Switch. So if you have save data from Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, you get a special phone case for that. If you have save data from Pokemon Sword and or Pokemon Shield, you get a phone case for that. Same thing with Pokemon Shining Pearl and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, and Pokemon Legends Arceus has its own phone case too. Like the funny thing is when you tell them that when you show them like your Rotom phone, right, and then you actually get to choose which phone case you want, and the amount of option is determined based on the save data you have of previous Pokemon games you played on Switch that have been released for Switch. So like literally, I don't think it includes like the virtual console where it's like, oh, you get to play these Pokemon games on the virtual console through the virtual console selection in Switch. Now it's literally from, I think it's just literally from all Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee up to Pokemon Legends Arceus, because it was so funny when you choose the Pokemon Legends Arceus phone case. The person will be like, I see, you've traveled across the Hisui region. The freak's the Hisui region? Like, the person doesn't know about the Hisui region because the Hisui region was what, the Sinnoh region, like 500 years ago? Or it's like Sinnoh, it was Sinnoh before Sinnoh. So the Hisui region was literally what Sinnoh was like before Sinnoh even existed. Which is crazy because in Pokemon Legends Arceus, you get to see how that like what that temple looks like. The reason why the temple looks the way it is in Pokemon Pearl, Pokemon Diamond, and Pokemon Shining Pearl and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. Again, I will not stress the amount of disappointment I have for Pokemon Shining Pearl and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. It was a reboot. It was a reboot. Everyone wanted a reboot of Pokemon Pearl and Pokemon Diamond. But it wasn't that great. Like, sure, it was literally verbatim Pokemon Pearl and Pokemon Diamond. Like, it was verbatim. There was nothing crazy about it. There was no added mechanics that made the reboot worthwhile. Like, you bought the game and you basically got like a reskinned version of Pokemon Pearl and Pokemon Diamond, and it just like it was a fun game because it's Pokemon, don't get me wrong, but it just disappointed me because I wanted something new to make it seem fresh. Like, it's a reboot, you add something to make it fresh. Like, there was nothing added to it that made it fresh. I mean, like, sure, you can catch Arceus because you had Pokemon Legends Arceus, but like there was like nothing. Like, there wasn't anything mind-boggling. Like the reboots for Pokemon Ruby and Pokemon Sapphire, that was worth it because the starter Pokemon got their own Mega Evolutions. Like, I expected like the starters for the like Pokemon Pearl and Pokemon Diamond to like get their own Z moves or like, oh my gosh, the Sinnoh region has a Dynamax phenomenon. Like, I expected something like that. Like, keep, like, you have the region, you have the general storyline, but you add something to make it interesting like they did for Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and Pokemon Omega Ruby, which are the reboots of Pokemon Sapphire and Pokemon Ruby. And just to throw it out there, I played Pokemon Sapphire when it released on my Game Boy Advance, and I used to play it all the freaking time. And I remember when I got back into Pokemon, it was like when I got back into Pokemon, it was when Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon was released, and I was like, I'll give Pokemon a go. And I love Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. I love Pokemon Ultra Sun and Pokemon Ultra Moon. I love those games. That is my favorite region. Alola is my favorite region in the Pokemon franchise. And because I played Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon, I decided to buy the reboot of Pokemon Sapphire. So I decided to check out Pokemon Alpha Sapphire, and boy, did I enjoy it. Because the legendaries from the Hoenn region got new forms. Like, Latias and Latios got like a Mega Evolution form. Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza had Primal Reversion forms, which was like the reverse of Mega Evolution, but was equally as lethal. Like, it was so cool. Like, your starters got boosts too. They got Mega Evolutions. Like, that was a reboot. Like, oh my god. Like, I think that is a reboot worth playing. Like, it's a reboot with a twist. I feel like if you reboot a game, you should add something to it to make it, like, fresh. For example, Luigi's Mansion that was rebooted onto the 3DS. I thought it was just verbatim a Luigi's Mansion reboot, and I would have been fine with it. But they added something interesting in Luigi's Mansion 3D, which is in the game. You literally go through the opening dialogue where Luigi first meets Professor Egod and just talking, right? However, that simple dialogue in the original game was interrupted. And you see Professor Egod from Luigi's Mansion Dark Mood talk to past Professor Egod and said, guess what, I need data for Guigi. I am sending Guigi to the past. So that way I can gather data. And then Professor Egod from Luigi's Mansion 3D was like, oh shoot, so the future me wants to send me an invention that future me made so future me can have data. That's wild. And then it just continues its like regular dialogue, regularly scheduled program. But the thing here is that it was basically the same game, but they added a mechanic that made it interesting. They added Guigi into the original Luigi's Mansion, and that was only for Luigi's Mansion 3D. I have the original Luigi's Mansion for GameCube. I've played it countless times. And I found it interesting that they added modes to Luigi's Mansion 3D for like the Luigi's Mansion port on 3DS. Like they added things to it, like you can earn trophies, you can like where you can have Guigi, like that's what I think a reboot should be. Like it shouldn't just be verbatim, like copy and paste. It should be copy and paste with a little bit of editing to make it fresh. Like freak, like they literally they had the potential to make Pokemon Shining Pearl and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond so much more, but they didn't. And that's what upsets me. They didn't give any of the starters Mega Evolutions. They didn't give them Gigantamax forms. They didn't give them like unique items that make them insanely cool and like overpowered. They didn't do that. They didn't do any of that. They just verbatim copy and pasted. And sure, people can argue with me, but honestly, that's what they did. That's how I see it. I've never played Pokemon Pearl and Pokemon Diamond. I will say that, and yeah, like, my argument just became invalidated. But the thing is I played the demos back when they let you do that at Walmart. I played the demos. I've seen, like, some of the stuff for Pokemon Pearl and Pokemon Diamond before this game, before the reboots were announced. Like, I've always wanted to play Pokemon Pearl and Pokemon Diamond. I've always wanted to play those games. And I'm glad I am able to play them, or at least the reboots, on Switch. The thing that makes me sad is that I wish they added more into the reboots. Like, I wish they gave the starters, like, Mega Evolutions. I wish they gave the starters, like, Gigantamax forms. Like, I wish they, like, elaborated more on what could have made this reboot stand out more from the original. Because I compared it, really, like, compared it with the limited knowledge I had of the original Pokemon Pearl and Pokemon Diamond to the reboots, Pokemon Shining Pearl and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. I don't see a difference. I don't see a difference. At this point, like, they might as well have, like, done a reboot. Well, at this point, what they could have done is added Pokemon Platinum storyline and combined it with Pokemon Shining Pearl and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond's storyline. Like, it would have been more interesting then. Like, don't get me wrong. It is an enjoyable game. It is fun. It is great. I just found it lackluster. I just was disappointed because I was expecting more than what they gave me. But they delivered in Pokemon Violet and Pokemon Scarlet. I think the way they executed it was great, despite all the overworld bugs and all that jank stuff that people complained about when Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet first launched. I will say, and also, like, corrupting save data files because you downloaded the downloadable content for Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. But that's a whole other story. Like, for me, I am lucky that the save data corruption didn't happen to me. I was just lucky that the game played and didn't crash on me at all. Being in the lake, though, pushed my Switch to its limits. I hated being on the lake. If you guys know what lake I'm talking about in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, you understand. There was so much going on the Switch had to account for that it lagged the game. And it was so bad. I was like, just let me catch a Tatsu and like that other big catfish Pokemon, and just let me get all the Pokemon in the lake, and I will not touch this lake ever. I will not touch it, because last thing I need is lagging and crashing. But I like the concept they put forth in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. It went down the same route as Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, where you buy the downloadable content and it expands the world of the Pokemon series games, like Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. It expanded it. Blueberry Academy, Kitakami. I love that. It was great. And then the fact that they added another thing on top of that, which was the Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet epilogue this year, and I loved it. It was something I wasn't expecting. I thought that was it. After Blueberry Academy, after the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero Part Two, um, the Indigo Disc, I thought that was it. Like I finished it. I thought that was it, but then they surprised me again with this epilogue and with the mythical Pokemon Picture Run. Which, by the way, if you're curious on how to get there, first you have to beat the game essentially. Then you have to you have to do the what was it, like the Ace Trainer tournament that happens at post game. After that, you have to beat the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero Part 1 and 2. So you need to beat the Teal Mask and the Indigo Disc, because that's how the epilogue happens. Is you have to basically do all of these mega side quests, and then you get to play the epilogue, which I think is awesome. It's amazing, actually. Like, I think it's cool. It's wonderful, to be honest. Uh, it took me about like an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes to beat the epilogue, but it was awesome to be able to interact with Penny again, to be able to interact with Nimona, Arvin, and seeing them interact with Carmine and Kieran. I thought that was wonderful. I thought that was crazy. Granted, I will say, I know it's a mythical Pokemon. Know that. I think the premise of this mythical Pokemon is super silly. Like, I know a lot of people looked at the later Pokemon games and said, it's garbage. And I totally understand where they're coming from, because after you make a Pokemon for God, where else do you go? They literally made Pokemon for Yin and Yang, Reshiram and Zekrom. And then after that, what? It was like Life and Death with Xerneas and Yveltal. And then they were like, what next? Interdimensional stuff. And I love interdimensional stuff. I love that type of stuff. Because Solgaleo and then Lunala came a thing. And I'm just going to put it out there. My favorite legendary thus far that always sticks out in my mind is Solgaleo. I love Solgaleo. Also, I have to admit a flaw. I have to admit a sin I've committed in Pokemon Ultra Moon. Back then I didn't have as much money, so I couldn't get both games. So I chose Pokemon Ultra Sun. I was like, of course. So there's Necrozma, right? And then there is Necrozma Dawn form, where Necrozma fuses with Solgaleo. I have never played, or I have never used Necrozma Dawn form. To this day, I have never done it. I played the game, I beat the after story. I never once played Necrozma Dawn form, and I don't know why I did not. So when I finally, so like you see like the quest in Pokemon Ultra Sun, like quest changes, and like you have to beat Ultra Necrozma, and you beat Ultra Necrozma, right? You catch Ultra Necrozma in a Pokeball. It's cool. It's all well and good. All well and good. And then afterwards, what, like that one dude from Pokemon Black and Pokemon White? I forget that person's name, but I think he used to be a villain. Is now good, and he gives you this device that helps you separate Solgaleo from Necrozma or fuse them together. I defusioned them. I separated Solgaleo and Necrozma because I just wanted Solgaleo and Necrozma. That was a mistake. That was a legit mistake, and I just kept it like that for the rest of my time playing Pokemon Ultra Sun. And after that, I have never once touched the game again. I have not. The last time I touched the game, I was doing the Ultra Wormhole thing, which was fun, being able to cross dimensions and stuff. But then I just got tired of it and I was done. I was like, because I put majority of my effort was in Pokemon Sun. Like, it is the first Pokemon game which I put so much effort in. I completed the Pokedex. I did all the side quests that I know existed for Pokemon Sun, and I was done. And then Pokemon Ultra Sun, like, the hustle died, and then from there it just died. Like, I just play the Pokemon games for fun. The Pokedex is optional for me. Like, I really didn't pursue complete the Pokedex in the region. I don't know why, but I didn't, and I really, it's like, I guess it's becoming a regret that I need a fix, like, because after hearing that, like, my number one gotcha game of Mario Freeze's service is ending on February 28th, 2200 PST, I realized that if I don't do this now, if I don't do it soon, I'm not going to be able to do it at all. Like Pokemon Ultra Sun, like, have Necrozma Dawn form. Like, try it out. I have never once used the Ultra Necrozmium that you get from the game. I never used it. I never got to experience broken Ultra Necrozma. I never once was able to do that. I don't know why I didn't. Literally, in like the Elite Four for Pokemon Ultra Sun, I never once used Ultra Necrozma. I beat the game. It's cool, but I don't know why I didn't. I should do that. Like, it's pretty dope to have, like, the whole, like, the whole, like, fusion with legendaries, like Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem had that. I don't know why. I don't know why I didn't try that out. Which makes sense that that villain from Pokemon Black and Pokemon White that helps you out in the game, like, gives you that device that lets you fuse Necrozma with either of the legendaries, because it's like, oh yeah, we decided to do that for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Pokemon Ultra Moon. Same thing with Pokemon Black 2 and Pokemon White 2. I assume. I've never once... Okay, it's crazy, because I've never once played Pokemon Black, Pokemon White, or Pokemon White 2 and Pokemon Black 2. I've never played them. I have never played Pokemon X. I've never played Pokemon Y. I don't know why. I don't know why. But to the point of the matter, I enjoyed the downloadable content that was a nice little thing to play after work today for Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet. I was not expecting it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. It was very wholesome. It was an epilogue. It was great. I don't know if there's any more plans to add more content to Pokemon Scarlet or Pokemon Violet in the future. I don't think there is, because I just realized that after you beat the epilogue, Mochi Mayhem, you then unlock more special coaches that you can invite to the Blueberry Academy club room. Because before this epilogue came out, you could only, like, you can unlock as many special coaches in the Blueberry Academy as you can, except there came a point where you were stuck because there were 3 missing. Like, there were 3 question marks. And I looked this up because I didn't feel like putting in the effort to unlock all the special coaches. I actually might, I'm considering on doing that because I just want to see the interactions. Like, when Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield released their final update, which was that you could team up with gym leaders and friends and face off against specific people, like the whole, like, the Galar Cup. Like, you can make your own Galar Cup. That was the last update they did for Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. I thought that was cool. Never did it because I was too busy playing other games and watching other anime at the time. I should have taken that chance to try it out. So, yeah, you can, the last 3 characters are now unlockable, I believe. I believe they are unlockable now, because when I finished Pokemon Scarlet's epilogue, I saw a notification in the top right corner of the screen that said, more people can be invited to the club room. And I'm like, I assume it's the last 3 special coaches that no one could unlock until this event happened. So I actually might take the time to just use my capture card and just stream me playing Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, just like a little fun thing. And it's just doing the special coaches, because I never once touched that whole program you get after you beat the Indigo Disc downloadable content. Like you can invite special coaches, like, so all the gym leaders that you face in Paldea, like, you get to invite them. And what I love about this special coach thing was that you can face the Elite Four again. So you can face Poppy and her gang of Steel type Pokemon. And I'm like, I wanted this. I legit wanted this. I found it upsetting, personally, that after you beat the Elite Four in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, you could not face them again. Like, it was the first Pokemon game where you couldn't face them again. I was like, what the fudge? And so I'm so glad that they released that they allow you to do that in the Indigo Disc after you beat it. I was like, but it's kind of disappointing that it had to take a downloadable content to let you do that. Like, I was like, dude, come on, you at least put it in the main game. Why would you have to do it? Like, they didn't even give Pokemon players access to the Elite Four until like the end of 2023, like last month, last year. Like, they didn't give them that function until like last year, and I'm like, bro, you could have, you could have, you could have done that. I would have played the game more if I had the ability to face them again, like, and be able to face Jita, like one of the champions of the Paldea region. If I could face Jita, one of the champions of Paldea region, that'd be great because it's like Jita and Nimona. They're champions of the Paldea region, and I actually like what they did with the term of champions in the Paldea region, which is like there isn't just one champion. There's multiple champions, and I found that very interesting. Versus like every other region thus far, every region is like one champion and one champion only. And then Paldea is like, we're gonna like do our own thing where like we can have multiple champions. So it's like, oh, that's wild. So, man, it was so nice to be able to go back to see Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet. It after playing the epilogue, it really makes me want to watch the new Pokemon series with the new main character. And it's just because it's Pokemon, and I want to hear the voice actors for Penny and Nimona, because Penny and Nimona are some of my favorite characters in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. I love those two. I love Nimona. She's just so adorable. Penny is adorable too. Like, I want to know what their voices sound like, because in the Pokemon games, you've never really heard their voices unless you played Pokken Tournament or Pokken Tournament Deluxe. That's a totally different deal. But in general, the Pokemon games, you don't hear anyone voice act in them. And I personally think if they added voice acting in them, it'd be phenomenal. Like, take for example Pokemon New Snap or New Pokemon Snap or whatever. Like, it's like the sequel to Pokemon Snap where you take pictures of Pokemon and stuff like that. Like, if they added voice acting to the Pokemon games, it'd be so amazing. But I feel like they're just doing that type of aesthetic just for the theme, like, because if you just compare it to literally every, like, the past, like the original Pokemon games, it's always just text. There is no like sound effect whatsoever. So I guess that's the aesthetic. They try to keep it, it's like the nostalgia effect. But I mean, like, with something as great as Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, in my eyes, I know some people think it sucks, because they added cinematic cutscenes. Like, it's cinematic cutscenes. Like, it's not just like, oh, look, it's like set movement in a certain pattern. No, it's legit cutscenes, and the characters are acting like they're acting independent from the set movements given to them. Like, there's cinematic cutscenes, and if you get what I mean by cinematic cutscenes, you get what I mean. Like, they should have put voice acting in that. I wanted voice acting so bad. When I saw the first cinematic cutscene in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, I was like, I hope there is voice acting. I knew there wasn't, but it was just like, I want to hear voice acting in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. And if not this game, which obviously has been said and done, I hope they have voice acting for the next Pokemon game. Because technology has improved so much. Like, the Pokemon games have improved. They've added gimmicks and stuff, and it'd be really cool if they added voice acting to a mainstream Pokemon game. I feel like it would enhance it. I feel like it'd be amazing if that was a thing. And technically, they kind of did in Pokemon Legends Arceus, but it's not the same. Like, voice acting, like reading a line. Like I actually after I had beaten Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, I saw a YouTube video of a YouTuber voice acting Nemona's lines, and it was during that cinematic cutscene where Nemona was like, "It's just me and you, player. Let's duke it out." Like that cinematic cutscene, someone voice acted that, and like, granted, it wasn't like, oh, freaking amazing, like top tier voice acting. It was good voice acting, but it wasn't up there. Like, no offense to that YouTuber, but like, it was good voice acting nonetheless. And just adding that voice element into that cinematic cutscene just made it so fulfilling. It was like, finally, yes. But I need to watch the new series. I need to hear Nemona's voice actor English. I mean, I if they add one more update to Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, if they ever did, if they decided to, which I don't think they will, it'd be a voice pack, so I can just hear Nemona talk. I just want to hear her voice. Oh man, I love Nemona and Penny. Like, okay, and back to the epilogue. It was really funny. It was like, oh my god, this is really what I'm. This is really the story. A mochi Pokemon controlling people by feeding them mochi. Oh my gosh, it was such a silly thing. Every human that ate the mochi did the literal chicken dance. They did the chicken dance. I'm 26. I'm old enough to know this, but if you guys know what I'm talking about, there's like a dance called the chicken dance, where it's like like, that's how the song sounds like. It's called the chicken dance, and it's basically tuck your arms like this, do this while stepping like right, left, like marching, like the chicken dance. That's what they did. I was like, bro, they put the chicken dance in here, but because like the chicken dance is so old, I bet it's just gonna be known as the mochi dance. But man, that was such a fun small adventure. That was such a fun small adventure. So yeah, I just wanted to just talk about Pokemon because I literally spent like 2 to 3 hours playing the DLC for both games. So I feel very good right now, and and so it was funny because in Pokemon Scarlet, I did not give my Skeledirge the Stellar type, the Stellar Terra type, and I played the entire epilogue for Pokemon Scarlet without my Skeledirge having the Stellar Terra type. So it was fun. And then before I started I started the downloadable content for Pokemon Violet, and then I stopped. I was like, oh, I was in the middle of it. It was literally the point before, spoiler alert, it was literally before you talk to Kieran while Kieran finishes up his match with Nemona. And I was like, okay, first off, I need to go to the Golden Treasury or something like that. I changed my Terra type for my Mouscarada from Grass Terra type to Stellar Terra type, and I got to experience using the Stellar Terra type in a Pokemon battle, which is interesting because the way I read the instructions for giving your Pokemon the Stellar Terra type was, okay, first off, the one point, like when you terrestrialize your Pokemon, the move that is corresponding to the move type that corresponds to the Terra type of the Pokemon gets a 1.5 times boost. And whenever you finish the Indigo Disc and the whole Stellar Terra type is available to you, you learn that when you use it, you can only use you can only what is it? You can only use a move once with the 1.5 times boost from terrestrialization. I read that wrong. I thought it said that if you terrestrialize your Pokemon that has the Stellar Terra type, and let's say you choose a Grass type move, for the rest of that battle, that 1.5 times boost would be only for Grass type, and that's what I thought. However, I am wrong, because I tried it out today. So, whenever you terrestrialize a Pokemon that is the Stellar Terra type, all of your moves have that shining, glistening, like, border that basically means, hey, if you use this move, it will get the terrestrialization boost, the 1.5 times boost. What I then learned after using one move after terrestrializing my Stellar Terra type Meowscarada, after I used Bite, because I used Bite, it's a dark type move, right? Oh, the boost happens, you see the animation, it does the 1.5 times boost. Then the next turn came and that border was gone, meaning that it no longer gets the 1.5 times boost, and then I realized I read the instruction wrong. I thought, like I said earlier, that if you use one move, the rest of that battle, while the Pokemon is terrestrialized, the 1.5 time boost will only be for that move, that like type. Like, let's say you use Bite, you terrestrialize your Pokemon, it uses what, like a water type move, right? So for the rest of that battle, while that Pokemon's terrestrialized, it will only provide the 1.5 times boost to water type moves only, and then in the next battle you choose like grass, and then for the rest of the battle it's just grass only. No, I'm wrong. What it does is it gives all your moves a 1.5 times boost, despite what, like, doesn't matter what type it is, but you can only do that boost once. And I was like, that is lame. That literally makes like regular terrestrialization better. In my eyes. I mean, Stellar Terra type terrestrialization I think is cool for certain things, but like basic terrestrialization I think is better. Because let's say like before the DLC came out, before Stellar types were announced, you could do some funny things, right? Like, for example, Dragonite. So, like, there was, like, what was it? Like, there was a Pokemon you can find in the wild in the Paldea region, not, like, the DLCs, because that didn't come out yet. You can find a Dragonite just roaming around the map, and it has the Steel Terra type. So, you throw out a Fairy-type Pokemon, right? And then you face this Dragonite, and then it terrestrializes, right? And Steel. That just made Fairy-type moves inadequate. It just made it not very effective. Plus, it's Steel type. So, your Fairy types are in danger, because Fairy types are weak against Steel types. So, after seeing the Stellar Terra type, I think it's cool. I feel like for certain Pokemon it would work for them, like for Terra type wise. But for other Pokemon, I think you might as well just stick with single Terra types and just stick with that, because I think it's better to just trick your opponent into thinking, hey, I bet you didn't expect this, but what you thought was super effective against my Pokemon is no longer super effective because I have a countermeasure. It's called changing its type by terrestrialization. Because Stellar Terra types does not change your Pokemon's type. It actually keeps it. So like my Meowscarada, when I terrestrialize it, it still has the Grass Dark type. So I don't know what to say about that, except like, freak man, bug type moves are uber duper effective because they're super effective against grass type and dark type. Meowscarada is a grass type, dark type, so I literally took a whopping 4 times hit, because in Pokemon Violet, like, my Meowscarada got hit with bug type moves like twice, and it was an instant one shot, and I'm like, man, this hurts. This hurts. So, yeah, that was my thoughts on the Stellar Terra type. I think it's cool. I think it's interesting. I think it's lame that it's literally just once a move use, and then there's no more 1.5 times boost. Like, once you use all your moves, like, I don't know what happens after that, but I feel like it's just dead move. It's just like basic moves. You just look really fancy. You just have your Terra Jewel, and that was it. But yeah, so there's pros and cons to doing the Stellar Terra type and then just regular Terra types like fire, like stuff like that. But it's up to the person, up to how they feel like it. I just wanted to terrestrialize one of my starters in one of my games to see how it felt like, and I think I might not give my Skeledirge in Pokemon Scarlet the Stellar Terra type, but that remains to be seen. I might do it, just why not? Just, who knows? because like if you do like basic terrestrialization, that 1.5 times boost is always for that move and it will stay that way for the rest of the turn. But stellar terra types is like, yeah, you only the 1.5 boost is only for one move, but the pro is that it can be used on any move just once a turn. I don't freaking know. And then I mean, actually no, I take that back because the stellar terra type is amazing for raids, for raiding a Terra Pokemon's den. So, like in regular battle, it's like okay, one use. However, in raid battles with Terra Pokemon, I believe the 1.5 times boost for Stellar Terra type Pokemon is just active for the entirety of the raid. So it gives more value to raids than it does for Pokemon values, in my opinion. But it's whatever. I really haven't tried out the Stellar Terra type much to say for sure, but it's something, I guess. Yeah, that was fun. That was so much fun. But yeah, that was. I wanted to start off this stream by just talking about Pokemon. Yeah, because I like Pokemon. Ever since playing Pokemon Sun, like getting into Pokemon, I've loved the Pokemon games. Again, my favorite region is Alola. Will forever be Alola because I think that Pokemon Sun and Moon, Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon, and Pokemon Ultra Sun and Pokemon Ultra Moon really changed up the way Pokemon plays because it is the first game to include regional variants. It's the first game to include regional variants. It included Z moves. It even included Mega Evolutions because why not? It's cool. Brought back like the fusion mechanic for Necrozma. Included a form of Pokemon, like a series of Pokemon called the Ultra Beasts, because then every other game kind of just like had their version. Like Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet have their version. It's called Paradox Pokemon. But in Pokemon Sun, Pokemon Moon, Pokemon Ultra Moon, and Pokemon Ultra Moon, Ultra Sun, it was Ultra Beasts. Yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah, I just realized that. I think the Alola Pokemon Sun, Pokemon Moon, Pokemon Ultra Sun, and Pokemon Ultra Moon. I think that game series has the most mythical Pokemon. Correct me if I am wrong. Because I'm like, because Mew is from Gen 1, Jirachi I think is from Gen 3. I don't know what's the mythical Pokemon from Gen 2. Shaman. Yeah, there's Shaman, Darkrai. Those are mythical Pokemon for what is it? They are mythical Pokemon for Sinnoh. Yeah. So Hoenn has to be Jirachi because I remember there was like the Pokemon movie and it had Max and May from Hoenn. So I'm like, yeah, no. I think Jirachi is Gen 3. I don't know if there was a mythical Pokemon for Gen 2. No, Celebi. Celebi. That's another one. So Celebi was a mythical Pokemon. There's Diancie. I think, yeah, Diancie was X and Y. What was Black and White? I don't know if there was a mythical Pokemon for that series. Yeah, because like Sun and Moon, they had Zeraora, so that was one mythical Pokemon. Magearna, that's one. Marshadow, so there was three. There was three mythical Pokemon released for that. There's only one mythical Pokemon released for Sword and Shield, I believe, and it's like that dark grass type. It's like the jungle dude. He has the jungle healing attack. And then yeah, Scarlet and Violet only has one mythical. So I think Sun and Moon is the one that has three mythicals. That's crazy. Oh wow. Yeah, because Marshadow has his own Z move, and it's really funny. Marshadow has his own Z move. I'm surprised, I'm surprised they didn't make a Gigantamax, like a Gigantamax mythical. Because, like, when Diancie was released for X and Y, I believe that was the mythical Pokemon for them. It was a Fairy Rock dual type. And it's like, it is the only mythical to have a Mega Evolution. Because Diancie is a Mega Evolution. But, however, and unfortunately, like, I wanted to see a mythical Pokemon that has a Gigantamax form in the Sword and Shield. Nah, I didn't get that. And then they gave a legendary, well, the mythical for Scarlet and Violet. I'm just like, is there gonna be like a hidden move that you can have with terrestrialization? Guess not. Heck if I know. I don't freaking know. I mean, like, so Pecharunt has like a stupid ability too. Like, I don't know if I. Oh yeah, that's right. I was gonna talk about like Pecharunt has poison puppeteer, and that's It is a stupid thing. I experienced that. Excuse me. And in my Scarlet version of the Epilogue, and it was just, oh shoot, because like you get poisoned, and poison puppeteer, the ability that Pecharunt has is any Pokemon that gets poisoned by Pecharunt gets confused, and I was like, that's lethal. That's stupid because you get poisoned and then you get confused, and I'm like, and then Pecharunt's unique move, Malignant Chain or whatever, it so it has a chance to badly poison the Pokemon. Just not regular poison, badly poison, which I learned that there's a difference between poisoned and badly poisoned in Pokemon Sun and Moon. So basically, poisoned is continuous damage over a set period of time. Badly poisoned means after every turn, the damage you take is doubled. And it's like, oh, like from the status ailment. And it's like, oh, shoot. Oh, that's scary. That's very scary. So, yeah. Pecharunt's stupid. Strong. Like, it is a ghost poison type. But it's stupid. Like, it's scary because in my Scarlet version, Pecharunt did 3 nasty plots. So, Pecharunt managed to max out its special attack. So the way it worked, the first like 4 turns in the Scarlet version of the Epilogue when I faced Pecharunt, it was Pecharunt did nasty plot, then did toxic, then did nasty plot, and then proceeded to use Malignant Chain. And I was like, oh shoot! And then it used Shadow Ball, and I was like, and the attack moves it knows is Shadow Ball and Malignant Chain. And what's stupid is that I couldn't do much. It was one-shotting my team, and they were all like level 100, and it was like, oh shoot, because freaking yeah, it's freaking like maxed out, like maxed out special attack. I was like, there's no way. This is too powerful. Pecharunt's stupid. It bought time by not only poisoning my Skeledirge, but using its ability, Poison Puppeteer, to confuse it too. And it was the one time that Skeledirge hurt itself from confusion 2 turns in a row, so Pecharunt was able to just max out its special attack and just wallop me upside the head. It was just... And I was like, okay, you're using Malignant Chain, it's a poison type move, I bet. I'll just call up my Tinkaton Shadow Ball. Well, I had a good run. It has a backup plan against Pokemon that are not affected by poison type, specifically Steel type Pokemon. The Steel type Pokemon cannot be affected by poison types, which is really funny, unless it's a Salazzle, because Salazzle has the ability Corrosion, which allows Salazzles to poison Steel types, which is like, oh, that's a scary thing. It's like Salazzle has an ability called Corrosion. It's like, I remember when I learned about it in Sun and Moon, I was like, bro, Salazzle is like the scariest fire poison dual type. Oh lord, that is terrible. Because you can, not only can Salazzle burn you, it can poison you, regardless if you're a Steel type. It's scary. It's like, okay, Steel type, sure, I'll be immune to the poison attacks that Salazzle has. Nope, has Corrosion. Fudge! Alright, so I really wanted to play some Genshin. It is 10:26 p.m. I'm getting tired. I've been awake since like, well, I shouldn't say that because I had a nap, but I've been awake since like 6:50 p.m. a.m. And I mean, I took like a 20-minute nap at lunch at work today, but it's like, dang, because I only had like 6 hours or less of sleep. And that was because I was like, last night, after the Card Fight Vanguard tourney, I was just kind of talking to my friend about stuff, and before I knew it, it was like 11:55 p.m. And I was like, oh snap, I'm gonna be so tired tomorrow. And I surprisingly was not. I was full of energy, actually. I think it was because like when I hit the hay, I punched it because I conked out. I was out. I was asleep. Like I went in bed, fell asleep immediately. I was like, dang, I must have been very tired if I fell asleep immediately. So it was nice. It was nice to be able to sleep immediately. Like I think I had like good sleep. Like sure, like you're supposed to like have 8 hours of sleep, but for me it was like 6 hours less sleep. But it was good sleep. It was like I wasn't tossing and turning. I just when I hit the bed, I fell asleep almost instantaneously. It was wild. It was crazy. So yeah. Anyway. Man, I have spent 55 minutes talking about Pokemon. As you can tell, I have opinions on Pokemon. By the way, I just want to point out that I'm actually really happy that with Pokemon Legends Arceus, Decidueye has a regional variant. It's the Hisuian Decidueye, and as you can tell, I chose the Alola starter in Pokemon Legends Arceus because they had the what was it? They had the starter from Black and White. It was Oshawott, and they had Cyndaquil from Gen 2 from Kanto. No, not Kanto, Johto. And then they had Decidueye, and I was like, of course, I'm choosing Decidueye. Like, it had Rowlet. I was like the starter was Oshawott, Rowlet, and Cyndaquil, which, okay, cool, but they each had their own Hisuian regional variant, and I'm like, Alola will forever be my favorite region. I think it has one of the best starters in the Pokemon franchise. I mean, Hoenn has the best, in my opinion. Hoenn has the best starters. And then after Hoenn, I think after Hoenn, it is Alola. And then there is Gen 1. Like, Gen 1 is amazing because, first off, it's Gen 1. Freaking. Gen 1 has so much support. Like, oh my. Like, Ivy. Not Ivysaur. What is the final evolution of Bulbasaur? A Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur. Venusaur has a Mega Evolution and a Gigantamax form. Squirtle has a Mega Evolution, or Blastoise has a Mega Evolution and a Gigantamax form. And then we have... Oh, cool. Pungent Senties. Thanks for the first time chat. Looks like a bot. Whatever. Anyway, it's whatever. Views are views. Stream chat is stream chat. Anyway. But yeah, and then Charizard has Charizard X, Mega Charizard X, Mega Charizard Y, and Gigantamax Charizard, which was in the base game for Pokemon Sword and Shield, which I think is insane. Like I like how they give like love to the Gen 1 starters, but here's the thing. I saw a meme that explained this perfectly. Give love to the other generations of Pokemon starters. Oh my god! Like, I kid you not, I was upset. I was like, why? Why? Like, so in Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, why do you not give the starters Gigantamax forms? Why did it take a downloadable content, the Isle of Armor, to give the starters what they deserve? Like, why did you not give them Gigantamax forms? Gigantamax Rillaboom is cool. Gigantamax there's Sobble. I forget the second evolution Sobble. What was well Cinderace's Gigantamax evolution is wild. And then Inteleon. Inteleon's Gigantamax evolution is wild too. I'm like, it's goofy. Their Gigantamax forms are goofy. But if you hear me out here, why didn't you give them that? Why didn't you give them their Gigantamax forms in the base game? Why wait for a downloadable content to hit and for you to give them Gigantamax forms? Why did you do that? Just saying, like, I don't understand why you would do that. It doesn't make sense. Like, you clearly gave the Gen 3 like starters like Blaziken, Sceptile, and what is Marshtomp. Like, you gave them Mega Evolutions. You gave love to Gen 3, and I think, like, of course, Gen 3 is great starters, but give, like, give starters some love. like, I mean, like, sure, in the Indigo Disc, you are able to catch every starter from every generation of Pokemon, and it is contributing to the Pokedex of uh, the Blueberry Academy's. What do they call it? It's like the dome. I just think the dome. It's the dome. The planetary sphere? No, like they had a name for it. Freak, I forget what the term for that. The terrarium. That's what it's called. Like the terrarium. Like you can it contributes to the Pokedex count for the terrarium in Blueberry Academy. But it's like, bro, like in like the gimmicks, right? The gimmicks. Um, to be fair, like they gave the Alola starters their gimmicks, like they have their own specific Z move, which I appreciate. But like Gen 6, Gen 5, Gen 4, and Gen 2, I want them to have some extra fun. Like, okay, for example, they could have given Mega Evolutions to Gen 4 in the reboot. They could have done that. Or if not, they could have added Dynamax in Gen 4 for the reboot. Like, it would have been cool if they added Dynamax in there. I'm just saying, it would have been awesome if they added Dynamax in there. And, like, Infernape, Empoleon, and. What is the grass one? Torterra had, like, Gigantamax forms. I would think that would have been freaking amazing. But they didn't. And then, like, for this series of Pokemon with Terastallization, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, there isn't, like, a Mega Evolution or a Gigantamax form or like a Z move you can give to any of them. It's the gimmick for Scarlet and Violet is very generic, so you can like the starters can now have Terra types, so I guess there's a plus for that. But in terms of like Gigantamax forms, Mega Evolutions, and Z moves, give the other gens some love. Like, yeah, that's right. Pokemon X and Pokemon Y, the first Pokemon game in the series to deliver Mega Evolutions. Explain to me why Greninja, not Finnegan, Delphox, and Chestnut. Tell me why those three starters in Gen 6 did not get an like a Mega Evolution. Why did they not get a Mega Evolution, but Gen 1 and Gen 3 get Mega Evolutions? That's what threw me off. That's what upset me. Is when I learned that the Gen 6 Pokemon did not have their own, like the Gen 6 starters did not have their own Mega Evolution. I was like, why? Why would you introduce Mega Evolutions when the starters have no Mega Evolution? Like, it befuddled me. Wait, let me fact check myself. I need to fact check myself. What the fudge? My friend, I ended up catching up with messages. Alright, time to fact check the Greninja thing. Greninja Mega. Wait. Am I wrong? I'm just. Does. Oh, wait, hold on. I think they do. Greninja have Mega Evolution? Oh my gosh. So like now I'm looking up Mega Greninja, but they bring up Ash Greninja because that is a thing. If you played the demo for Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon that you download from the eShop, which sadly is no longer in service, you get Ash Greninja. And then when you get the game, you can take Ash Greninja and put it in Pokemon Sun, which is pretty dope. Ash Greninja has its own ability that's really cool. It's like Greninja's form of Mega Evolution. Yeah, it's stupid. Yeah. Delphox, Chestnut, and Greninja does not have Mega Evolutions. I looked it up. And it upsets me. I'm like, why would you introduce Mega Evolutions but not give the starters Mega Evolutions? That doesn't make sense to me. Oh yeah, that's right. The meme that I saw, it literally was like, and in the beginning, it's like every starter was basically created equal, and then as the more Pokemon games came in, Gen One got the special treatment with Gigantamax forms and Mega Evolutions. Um, Gen 3 got a Mega Evolution. Gen 7 had their own Z moves. Gen 8 had their own Gigantamax forms. Granted, it needed the Isle of Armor downloadable content to do so, but still, like, Gen 5, 6, 4, and 2, they don't have anything going for them that gives them a boost. Like, I want them to have something. Like, I want. If you're not going to give 5, 4, or Gens 2, 4, or 5s, like, excuse me, any gimmicks, give Gen 6 Mega Evolutions. I don't know why they didn't. And I know Mega Evolutions is like last year, like it's old now, but give them Mega Evolutions. Why do you not give them Mega Evolutions? Like, that was always backwards. I was like, why would you not give the starters Mega Evolutions? I don't know. It's just what bothered me. It's something that has not been rectified. Like, I remember when I finished Sword and Shield, I was like, dude, why does my starters not have their own Gigantamax forms? I can Dynamax them, but I can't Gigantamax them. Why don't they have it? And then Isle of Armor was like, don't worry, we'll give them forms. I'm like, about freaking time. It took a while for me to do so because it required me to get some max soup. And it requires 3 max mushrooms. So it's whatever, I guess. But oh yeah, I definitely did talk for an hour about Pokemon. Just I like Pokemon. I really like Pokemon a lot. Just I'm not as hardcore as other Pokemon fans. But anyway, same old, same old. We're just gonna do some Japanese and make some progress in Genshin Impact. I want to get Raiden. If I don't get Raiden by the end of the banner period, I'm pretty sure on the last day I will be like dropping money like it's hot for Raiden because I want Raiden. I like Raiden. I want Raiden. I want Raiden. Raiden's like one of the favorite female Genshin characters I like. Like I want Raiden. I want Raiden. And then Shenhua. I want Shenhua. Oh god, she is gorgeous. I love Shenhua. Anyway, all right, we're off to learn some Japanese.